Imagine if Yoda had been played by a monkey, if Darth Vader's iconic breathing came from scuba equipment, if lightsabers sounded completely different, if Chewbacca was actually based on a giant dog, and if Hollywood had been absolutely convinced Star Wars would fail. These aren't internet rumors. They're true stories that reveal how one of the most successful franchises in history was built on accidents, strange ideas, and a lot of luck. Let's go behind the scenes of Star Wars. Today, it's impossible to imagine anyone other than Yoda teaching Luke Skywalker on Dagobah. But during production of The Empire Strikes Back, filmmakers explored several different options. One of the strangest involved using a real monkey. The idea was to place a mask on the animal and give it a walking cane. The monkey would perform on set as the Jedi Master. It sounds absurd today, and apparently it looked absurd back then too. Concept was tested. The results weren't exactly mystical. Instead of looking like an ancient wise master, it looked like a monkey wearing a mask, which is exactly what it was. Fortunately, the production moved away from the idea. Instead, legendary puppeteer Frank Oz brought Yoda to life. The puppet allowed for subtle expressions, personality, and emotion, and the rest is history. Had that decision gone differently, one of cinema's greatest characters might have become one of its strangest. Before Darth Vader even speaks, audiences know exactly who has entered the room. The breathing. Slow, mechanical, unnatural. It became one of the most recognizable sounds in movie history. But where did it come from? The answer is surprisingly simple. Star Wars sound designer Ben Burtt was experimenting with different recording techniques while creating sounds for the film. One day he recorded breathing through a scuba regulator. The sound was harsh, rhythmic, mechanical, almost machine-like. Burtt then modified and refined the recording until it became Vader's signature breath. What's fascinating is that the sound tells a story before Vader says a single word. It instantly communicates that this is a man trapped inside a machine, a damaged human sustained by technology. One sound effect accomplished what pages of dialogue couldn't. Close your eyes. You can probably hear it. The hum, the crackle, the unmistakable ignition. But the famous lightsaber sound wasn't carefully designed from scratch. It was discovered. Again, Ben Burtt was experimenting with recording equipment while carrying a microphone near electronic devices. He noticed strange interference noises. One source was an old television set. Another was a film projector motor. The sounds interacted in unexpected ways. Most people would have considered the noise a technical problem. Burtt heard something different. He heard the sound of a futuristic weapon. After further manipulation and mixing, the lightsaber sound was born. It's a perfect example of creative curiosity. One person's equipment malfunction became one of the most iconic sounds in entertainment history. Sometimes innovation comes not from creating something new, but from recognizing something special when you accidentally stumble upon it. Before Chewbacca was a Wookiee, he was a dog. Well, sort of. George Lucas owned an Alaskan Malamute named Indiana. The dog was huge. He frequently rode in the passenger seat while Lucas drove. According to Lucas, the dog was so large that people sometimes mistook him for a person. Indiana wasn't just a pet. He was a constant companion. And over time, Lucas began imagining a loyal, intelligent co-pilot sitting beside a space pilot. That idea eventually evolved into Chewbacca. When you think about it, the similarities are obvious. Chewbacca is fiercely loyal, protective, brave, and always by Han Solo's side, just like Indiana was by Lucas's side. In fact, Indiana the dog later inspired another famous character named Indiana Jones. One dog helped inspire two of the most recognizable franchises in movie history. Not bad for a passenger. Today, Star Wars seems inevitable. A cultural phenomenon, a billion-dollar empire. But in the 1970s, almost nobody believed in it. Studio executives were skeptical. Many industry insiders thought the movie was confusing. The visual effects were unprecedented. The story seemed strange. And science fiction wasn't exactly dominating the box office. Even some people involved in the production doubted its chances. When the first film was completed, expectations were low. Then opening day arrived. Something extraordinary happened. Audiences lined up around city blocks. Word spread rapidly. The film became a sensation. Star Wars didn't just become successful, it transformed Hollywood. Special effects changed forever. Merchandising changed forever. Blockbuster filmmaking changed forever. The movie that many expected to fail became one of the most influential films ever made. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson behind all these stories. Great ideas often look ridiculous before they become legendary. A villain inspired by scuba gear. A Jedi Master who almost became a monkey. Lightsabers born from electronic interference. A Wookiee inspired by a dog. And a movie everyone expected to fail. Star Wars wasn't built by following the rules. It was built by creative people willing to experiment, take risks, and embrace accidents. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed uncovering the hidden history behind Star Wars, subscribe for more movie secrets, filmmaking mysteries, and behind-the-scenes stories.